I'm Jim, and this is Jim's Fix-It Shop, and this isn't the rebuilding of my differential. I've got to repair a bushing, and I'll show you what that's about in the next video, hopefully. This one, I've had a lot of questions on the turtle, on a major problem that most all of them have. Now the one I have does not have this issue yet, but I'm going to show you how to repair it. I've had a lot of viewers write in and say what they have done to it, and this is the correct way that Briggs & Stratton has came up with, is a kit to repair the, what do they call it? Kingpin Steering Arm is what they call it. What these things are doing, the top of the Kingpin has two flats machined on it, so it's not completely round. And this steering arm slides over them two flats and clamps to it. Well, a lot of guys are having problems. They say if they hit anything at all, it will spin one of the tires either out or in. Them flats are not holding. Now they realized that was a big issue, so they came up with a kit to repair that issue. Unfortunately, they didn't give them to you. I just picked this up tonight after work, and I wanted to do this video. The kit is $31.50. With tax, it was $33.39. And no, it wasn't given to me by anyone. I bought it from White Lake Nursery. I ran up there and got it today. And as I've heard in other videos, no one sponsors my videos. No one pays for these videos. And I can give you an absolute honest opinion of what I think of things. That bracket was pretty flimsy. Well, they came up with a better one. And I'm going to show you what's all involved in this and how it goes on. There is the, let me get this stuff out of this box. It's kind of snapped together here. This is the steering, I can't even get it out of here. This is the steering arm. Your linkage or tie rod hooks in this hole, and this, the two flats, that drops down over top of the Kingpin. Then they have, dump some of this stuff out here. Then they have this thick, heavy steel plate that goes on top of it, on top of the Kingpin. Then they have this other sheet metal clamp that goes over top of that, and the bolt goes through the whole thing. Now, I'm going to take this one off, I'm going to put it in a vise, and I'm going to show you how this all goes together. Like I said, my machine right now does not have any issues with that slipping, like a lot of them do. So what we're going to do with this kit is, after I get it back off, we're going to box it back up, and I'm going to give it to a viewer. Now, to qualify to win this, to fix your turtle, you're going to have to send a picture of you and your turtle to my email, so I really know that you have one. I'm not going to just give this to somebody that doesn't really need it. I would like to see a retired person, someone on fixed income, someone that's not working. That's who I would like to see win this, so they can fix their machine. So let's go down here and we'll see if we can get these parts off. And they certainly have completely different names than what I would call this stuff. So let's go down here and take a look. Okay, I tried to get a light clamped on here so you can see a little bit. I have some of these bolts loose. They give you really nice directions, if you can see them, on how to take it apart and how to put the new stuff on. The first thing they want you to do is remove the hardware that secures the drag link. Now, I would call this the tie rod myself, but, well, you know, they all have their own names. And then you can spin this around to get to the bolt and nut that secures this steering arm on here. Now they tell you to take the tire off, but for what I'm doing tonight, I'm just going to leave it on. It's not really going to be in my way. Now once this is crushed on here, I've had these off once. You may have to put a screwdriver in this crack and pry that back open, because you can see how much they have this thing crushed together to try to hold on the top of that Kingpin. So let's stick this thing in a vise and we'll show you how this goes back together. Okay, got this thing in a vise. I'll tip the camera down so you can see it. Now this is the original clamp, and if you can make this out, you can see how bad this is bent compared to a new one. I mean, there's probably a 1/4 inch crack here, and this is almost touching, maybe got a 1/16 of an inch. So that's how much this thing has been crushed to try to make it to hold so it doesn't slip. Now these are stamped on here, right and left. You can see an R on this one if I can get the glare right. It says to take this thing off your machine, but there's really no need to, and there's no need to take the tire off. If you can lift it up in the air and set the tires on like maybe a cement block, then when you take this clamp off the top of the Kingpin, the tire and Kingpin won't fall out of the cross member like it did when I took it off over there. There's no need to tear this thing all apart like they tell you in the directions. Hey, who reads these anyway? The pictures are really clear on what you're supposed to do. So we're going to take this one off, and we're going to take the one that's marked right, and the bottom hole is completely round. The top hole is the one with the 2 flats. So it'll only go on here one way and fit properly. Put the round hole down first, slide it all the way down. Then these little clamps are both identical. There is no right and left. This way it's a right, and this way it's a left. Pretty hard to mix it up. If you get it on there wrong, let me spin this over here. Maybe you can see the crack in this should line up with the crack in the clamp. So just flip it over and put it on. Everything lines up. Then the next thing they want you to do is you take this clamp, and this snaps over top of the whole thing. These 2 holes here line up for your well, I would call it a tie rod. They're calling it a drag link for that to bolt back into. Then you take these bolts, and this other clamp has a square hole in it that keeps the carriage bolt from turning. You drop that back on there. You put the bolt through all of this stuff, and you put the nut on. And this is a self-locking, what they call a flange nut. It's not just a standard nut. It has a built-in washer to help spread out the what's the word I'm looking for here? The force that you're going to be putting on this to pinch it, it's going to spread that out more evenly so it grabs it better. And I don't want to crush this down because, like I said, we're going to give it away. Now, without this in your way, you put this bolt through here, you can see how this is catching this original clamp and this extra clamp. This also grabs the top of the flats on the Kingpin. And this whole thing together is what's going to pinch that flat. This just kind of holds the whole thing into one piece. You put the bolt through it. That should take care of your issue. Now, if you have any questions or comments, like I say, put them in the box below or send me an email. Now, if you have one of these turtles, you have an issue with these things slipping. This one, like I said, I don't. It seems to hold pretty good. But you can see where they have really tightened this thing down and crushed it to grab onto the top of that pin to hold it together. So like I said, if you need this, you want to try to win it, send me your entry to my email and send me a picture of you and your turtle so I know you have one. If you send a picture to my, well, put it in this description below, everybody's going to see it. If you send something to my email, only I can see that. So don't worry about somebody seeing your picture. Besides, that way I can add them to my wall. Spin this around here. As you can see, I'm getting quite a few pictures up here. That's the only way I get to meet you. You all know what I look like. Nothing special. Send me a picture of you and your snapper and I'll put it on my wall. I'm going to have to change the name though, because it's not quite as shameful as it used to be. I'm getting a lot of people up there that hopefully I have helped fix their machine and save some money. That's what this is all about. So let's see, we'll run this for about 2 months. I hate to stretch it out too long because, well, summer's not quite here yet. Last night we got snow again, and I'm not mowing my yard yet, but I know some of you are, and you're having this issue. So in 2 months from today, we're going to pull a name out of my high-tech box, and we're going to see who can win this kit. And that's about it. I'll put this thing back together off camera. It's not that difficult. Like I said, they do send you really nice directions with awesome pictures. And that's one side is taking it apart and the other side is putting it together. Very simple. So if you have any questions or comments, put them in that box. Send me an email. Please enter. I would like this to go to somebody that really needs it and can't really afford to buy one on their own. That's what this is about. Don't forget to subscribe. I can really use the subscribers. If you like these videos, hit that thumbs up button, and maybe someday I'll get some financial help from Google if I get enough subscribers. So I guess that's about it. It's 11:30 my time. I gotta get this back together and go to bed. 5 o'clock comes pretty early. So work safe, have fun, and I'll talk to you soon. So long.